the source of all life, there is water. On Mars, where it is rare, water is a source of conflict, struggle, and death. Since the turmoil, there have been unending wars, fought over the possession of clean water. We are the forgotten children of Earth, trapped in this red, barren wasteland. Here, hell is not a concept, it's our reality. Then there were the unfortunates, caught in the full power of the sun's radiation, forced to deform. The others, the ones who remained similar to our ancestors in likeness, hid under massive metal shells, governed by water corporations. And finally, there's us, the elite protectors of the people, the spearhead of the army, my brothers and sisters who all share the same special gift. We are Technomancers.
And there we have the basic premise of the Technomancer, the new action RPG from Spiders Games. You begin by customizing your own version of protagonist Zachariah Mancer, though the options at first seem limited. The reason became clear as I learned Zachariah isn't a blank slate like Mass Effect's Commander Shepard, and is more like The Witcher's Geralt of Rivia. He has his own personality and may sometimes say things you don't agree with. He seems snarky and embittered at the very beginning, but soon enough your influences will be seen and felt, rest assured. It's up to you to make every major decision, which affects not only Zachariah, but also his companions and, eventually, Mars itself. In choosing and upgrading Zachariah's stats, you truly mold him to your distinct playstyle. Will he be able to charm his way out of any situation? Is he an assassin who studies enemy routes from the shadows, quietly laying bombs in their path? Or maybe he's an unkillable tank? Your experience with the game will vary greatly from someone else's, which also adds extra playability. The game's combat is especially noteworthy though, because it never stopped being fun. Zachariah is trained in many combat stances, each of which feels unique. The warrior's bow staff is flashy with great crowd control. The agile rogue's knife is fast and furious, while its gun gives you mid-range potential. And the guardian's mace and shield is slower, more deliberate, and strategic. While some RPGs might have only allowed you to choose one combat style, the Technomancer allows you to switch between them freely, even on the fly during combat. This lets you change up your tactics as the battle dynamics change. In addition to these stances, Zachariah's Technomancer abilities allow him to harness electricity and launch it at enemies. It almost makes you feel like a Sith Lord in Jedi clothing, and while I didn't delve too far into this particular tree, the few abilities I unlocked were invaluable. I always made sure my weapons were electrified, and the lightning arcs came in handy. Each of these different ways of fighting can be upgraded considerably, drastically altering the way they play. From the rogue's poison, to the warrior's tornado attack, the guardian's automatic parry, and more. I eventually leaned toward the warrior's skill tree, maxing it out. Were you so inclined, you could do the same for any of them as you find your groove. Frequently, I found myself comparing the combat mechanics to Batman Arkham Asylum's free-flow combat, and that should say a lot. It's a blast. Things get even more hectic when companions come in, and the same is true for the story. These companions fit snugly into established archetypes at first glance, but it's up to you to delve into their histories and bring out their true selves. Taking inspiration from BioWare's best games, the companions change over the course of your experience, based on how you handle certain situations. You will earn their loyalty or derision, romances will blossom, and they may even begin to harbor some murderous intent toward each other. One very difficult decision forced me to say goodbye to my most trusted ally, and the impact not only stayed with me, but in the story as well. A story that sees you visiting several large locations and dozens of smaller places in between. The opening city, Ophir, is an industrial place packed tightly with oppressed humanity. Noctis is its opposite, a safe haven with Persian architecture and a culture built around merchants, spies, and the value of information. I won't spoil the rest, but there's one place I certainly never expected to visit on Mars. I can't say much else about the plot without spoiling, but I will say that it ends on a satisfying note. Spider's Studio gives you a satisfying epilogue to show you exactly how your journey changed the face of Mars, and when the credits rolled, I was left wanting more. Oh, and before I forget, let's talk about the crafting. While the loot will seem plain in the beginning, that changes as Mars opens up. What surprised me the most, however, was how customizable clothing and weapons can be. Many will have upgrade slots, and each type of upgrade offers a unique look that adds to the armor or weapon it applies to. Just take a look for yourself, for an example. The experience wasn't perfect, though. One conversation had 2 lines of spoken dialogue placed out of order, though the subtitles were correct, if that counts. An enemy who had to be defeated to progress once fell through the map, but he respawned within seconds. And most annoying of all, using a health item while immediately dodging resulted in my entire supply of them being deleted. But since the game saves before every door, I only lost a couple of minutes of gameplay when reloading the save. None of these were game-breaking, but are worth mentioning regardless. So, all in all, I give the Technomancer an 8 out of 10. Spiders the Technomancer filled me with a sense of excitement last felt in Mass Effect 1 and 2, and again in Dragon Age Origins. It feels like one of BioWare's best, which is truly impressive for a smaller studio like Spiders. I'm officially a fan of theirs, and can't wait to see what they do next. This has been Chris Cobb from MiddleOfNowhereGaming.com. Peace!